Hi everyone, it's Dawn and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, I got some stories and I'm going to ask you guys some questions on them. One of them is, what happens when a cruise line miscommunicates how many tender ports there are on your stop? Significantly changes how many tender spots, because if you have mobility issues or you get seasick on the smaller craft, suddenly this is not a fun cruise for you. And yeah, that happened. Also, what happens if you decide to book like a cruise to Japan? I can't wait to go to Japan. All the stops are in Japan. Yeah. And they say, oh yeah, you're not going to Japan. We decided you're going to Australia. That's the same thing, right? So a cruise set sail just a few days ago on the Norwegian Dawn. The Norwegian Dawn was scheduled to have 8 ports of call, and on the description, when you read the cruise and all the different destinations and you're looking for your shore excursions and everything, it said they have 1 tender port. Out of 8, 1 tender port. Now, if you're somebody with mobility issues, you say, okay, well, maybe I just can't go to shore on that particular day. I'll spend it on the ship. It'll be a nice day. 7 other ports to visit. Not a big problem. And then you go to find out just a couple of days before you're supposed to cruise that, oh, they made a mistake. In fact, the letter said, it's come to our attention that the reservation system did not accurately portray the number of ports and the itinerary as tender ports. As such, please note that we will be visiting a total of 5 tender ports during the visit. From 1 to 5. 5 out of 8. Over half the stops are now tender ports, which means if you were thinking, well, I'll just stay on the ship that one day, now you're staying on the ship for 5 days, and you could only get off at 3 other ports. So yeah, apparently the reservation system was showing incorrect information, but they didn't let people know until just a day or so before the cruise. Yikes. And a lot of people, especially those who get seasick on tenders, I know a lot of people like that. Ask my niece. She cannot stand going on a tender. She loves the cruise ships, can't stand the tenders. And then we have people obviously in wheelchairs and scooters who just can't get ashore on the tenders. This cruise, it was mismarked, and now I'd be asking for my money back. If I had mobility issues, I'd be asking for some sort of cruise credit. Don't know if they'll get it, but you could always ask, right? That's kind of the situation. And now, as I was just mentioning, we have a cruise ship that was scheduled to go in October around Ireland, the Emerald Coast. It's going to do all Irish stops. Now, if you choose an itinerary that's all one place, all one area, that's because you want to immerse yourself in that area. You want to visit as many places as possible in Ireland. It's going to be amazing. Let's go do that. Let's discover our heritage. Let's go do all this kind of stuff. Well, Norwegian has now changed the entire itinerary for the Norwegian Star. It is now going to do 7 different countries. And by the way, not one of them is Ireland. Not one of them is going to be Ireland. Now, they're saying the reason that they're changing this is because of the tender policies in Ireland, where they said you can no longer tender between October and April. Mostly probably because of the rough seas. They don't want to have extra Coast Guard on display. They don't want small ships in trouble like tenders would be. Now, cruise ships don't send their ships normally in rough seas, so they would just skip the port if they couldn't get into port. I don't know what the whole issue is, but Norwegian has decided they're not going to go there at all. They're going to go over and visit France, and they're going to visit this. They're going to visit 7 different countries other than Ireland. Well, If you were trying to, that's like me saying at the beginning, well, I plan to go to Japan. I wanted to visit the Asian culture. I wanted to see Japan. And now I'm going to Australia? Those are completely different itineraries, completely different cruises that I booked, completely different feeling of the cruise. I should be able to get my money back, right? I should be able to cancel. I should be able to switch to another ship, switch to this, switch to that. But so far in the letter sent out to passengers, there is no mention of being able to cancel, change, or guaranteed prices or anything like that of that cruise. They're just informing them you're now going someplace other than what you were scheduled. I have a rough time with that one. Again, it's not like they're, instead of St. Thomas, we're going to St. Martin on one of our stops. It's not like that. You're going on a cruise to one country to visit that country. You're going to every port. And now they're switching you around and going to 7 different countries. It's no longer an Emerald Coast. It's no longer what you booked. You should be able to just cancel that reservation altogether, or at very least, very, very least, get future cruise credits to be used at another date. That's my feelings on it. I hope that passengers get offered that. I just got that question. What would you guys do in these situations? You're going with some friends of yours. They're in a scooter. They can no longer get to shore on that trip, and they just told you, even though the write-ups and everything said it wasn't a tender port, they told you we were docking, and now suddenly you can't. And then you book a cruise to a special location that you can't wait to get there, and bam, now suddenly you're going to a completely different itinerary, completely different destination, and it's not because of severe weather in your way. It's a planned change for future cruise coming up later this year. Should people be allowed to cancel that? I kind of think they should, but as of right now, there's no word on any possibility of getting your money back, a refund, or a future cruise, or anything along those lines. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think it's right? What do you think should happen? I'm hoping Norwegian does offer them refunds for, especially for the changed itinerary. I think that would be only fair. It's one thing to change because of, a hurricane in your way. It's a completely other thing to change because, well, they have tender rules and we've decided we're going to go to another place now. Well, apparently in that ship, only 2 ports had tenders. Out of all the stops they were doing, out of 7 or 8 stops, only 2 had tenders. One of them does have a docking facility that they could have tried to sign into by rearranging the schedule, and which would have left only 1 tender port on the entire cruise that they're changing the itinerary for. Instead of just saying, well, we were not allowed in that day, we're not going to tender, we're going to go and have 1 extra sea day. Instead, they changed the entire itinerary to something else completely different. Passengers, again, not happy, and I really can't say I blame them. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.